This year, our school theme is Find Your Voice, which is actually the 8th habit. Our teachers work in teams to make sure we are learning the 7 habits every day and that we have lots of opportunities for leadership in our classrooms and throughout the school.
And now, they are helping us to find our voice by encouraging us to think about our talents and what we love doing. Knowing what inspires us helps us become even more effective leaders, and this helps us find our voice.
Wait, there's more. As we explore our own potential, we need to help others and find their own potential too, so they can find their own voice. It's really a win-win.
We hope you enjoyed the video being shown in the Media Center with examples of Pleasant Lake students sharing how we are finding our voices. As you travel our wonderful school, be sure to ask students about how they are a leader and any ways they have found their voice.
We also thought you might like to know we are a lighthouse school. Being a lighthouse school is a point of pride for us because we are one of only 12 schools in all of Michigan to earn this honor.
Yeah, cool, huh? We are also excited to be a lighthouse school because the whole Pleasant Lake community,
staff, students, and families.
Yes, staff, students, and families synergized and worked hard for several years to become a lighthouse school. We continue to work hard to be leaders who make good choices even when no one is watching.
And we use our voice to be strong leaders. Today we'd like to share with you as many things as possible that helped us become a lighthouse school.
Exactly. Along with our classroom visits, where you'll see our leadership binders, classroom mission statements, and data walls.
Nice to meet you.
We are going to talk about how we use the 8 habits in math. The 8 habits come in handy during math because
math is proactive when you study for your test or multiplication cards.
we put first things first because we have fun and play. We find our voices during math because some people love math and others don't, and we don't want to hurt each other's feelings.
Begin with the inner mind by thinking about math problems.
This is our math problem. You can read it if you want to, and you can flip through one of our math books.
We're the data group. Welcome to our school. My name is Sam.
Hi, my name is Luke. Hi, my name is Pitt. Hi, my name is JP.
We're the data group, and we have these goals called WIGs.
They stand for wildly important goals. They help us track our data. Here are the 3 WIGs.
One is that I can get a 3 or 4 on my multi-step problem and explain my thinking, and not very many people got a 3 or 4 in our class, so we need to work on that.
The next goal is we will set an academic goal and meet it. And almost all the people in our class did it, so that's pretty good. This is my academic goal. And the next goal is we can get a 3 or 4 on the literature rubric, and this is one of them. We have to read this and then answer the questions, and you have to restate in that detail.
We have school-wide jobs.
Some people are in cruiser safeties and part of a riding group called the SEAL team. Some 4th graders are kinder buddies. Some people took the library books down to the library. Thank you for listening to our presentation and have a nice day.
First in the morning, we be proactive by signing in the board.
After that, we begin with the end in mind by checking that board for learning targets and supplies for morning math.
And later we put first things first by finishing our work and then going outside to play.
After that, when we get our morning work, we seek first to understand, then to be understood by checking instructions before we ask questions.
After lunch and social activities, we work together and synergize and think win-win by giving equal work. And during recess, we sharpen the saw by running outside.
At this group, we will be talking about how we use the 8 habits at home.
I use 8 habits at home by doing my homework before anything else. That's putting first things first.
I use the 8 habits at home by playing soccer with my friends, and that habit is called synergize.
I find my voice by cooking, and that is how I use the 8 habits at home.
I use the 8 habits by practicing my saxophone, and that is putting first things first. Hi, I'm Drake, and this is Yando, and today we're going to be telling you guys about the plus delta chart. I'm going to be explaining supplies and lining up, and Yando will be explaining lesson and transitions. Lining up means when we line up quietly behind the person in front of us, we'll stay at plus, but if we don't, we're a delta. Supplies means if we use our supplies how we're supposed to, we'll stay in plus, but if we use our supplies like it's toys, we'll go in delta. Now Yando's going to explain lesson and transitions.
Transitions means that if we're able to get to our seats or any place around the room as fast as possible without talking to neighbors, friends, then we stay in plus. But if we don't do that, then we go to delta. Lessons means that if we're listening, concentrating, and following the rules, then we'll stay in plus. But if we don't do that, then we stay in delta.
Hi, my name is Rick. This is our data board, where we keep track of learning here. For an example, this is our WIGs. WIG stands for Widely Important Goals of our school. We have 3 WIGs. First one is math. 75% of PLE students will be able to solve multi-step math problems by the end of the year. You need to get a score of a 3 or a 4 to pass.
Rebellion and make it timely, like we have times to when accomplish it, and if you get 4 to get a new level, and like you're at approaching or below.
We would like to tell you about our classroom meeting.
Every day we have classroom meetings.
Sometimes these meetings are time to connect, so we do something fun.
Other times they're quick meetings after research show how research went.
We put a thumb up or down depending on if there's an issue we need to discuss.
We also score how well research went with the following 8 habits.
Skills from 1 to 4, 4 being the highest.
Other times our classroom meetings might be a story that goes along with one of the habits, or a time to share something about ourselves.
Hi, my name is Bella, and my name is Lisa, and we're on the SAIL team. The SAIL team stands for Students Actively Involved in Learning. It is a student newspaper in which 33 reporters. Our student newspaper gets published once a month.
This is the February issue, and this is the January issue.
Welcome to our classroom. We have many leadership roles within our classroom. We also have many opportunities for leadership roles outside of our classroom. Take a look at our leadership roles. Like Bella is sales team, Mrs. Potts is helper, and student white house. Gianni's an usher, and Anthony's a Chrome cart sub and librarian. And finally, Alyssa is sales team, computer lab helper, and data rep. Also, Belzy is computer lab assistant, tour guide, and Miss Mench's helper. Eden is Miss Potts' helper and computer lab assistant. Peter is Chrome assistant, and OK is Friday folder captain. For example, I'm the classroom librarian. Each Wednesday I check in their library books, and I also work in a second grade classroom, Mrs. Zig. I work with my friend Maddie. We do things like gluing, cutting, and helping them with their weekend news. I work from 9:15 to 9:35. Also, I go to Miss Mench's room with my friend Belzy to be her writing queen.
Being organized in the 3rd grade is very important. It is being proactive. Here are some ways that we are organized.
Daily folder and planner that we write our assignments in each day. Our assignments go home in the daily folder.
We have a Friday folder that goes home every Friday. This folder has all our corrected work and grades for the week.
Our parents sign it and return it to school on Monday. We have a schedule on the board that shows all of our subjects for
the day. I get to announce the schedule in the microphone each morning.
The first habit is This is my sentence. This is what I did for writing last time. This is the things that I like.
begun. So go back, reread your writing, see if you can make any changes, or if you need any fixes. Okay.
So you're in first grade? What is your mission statement?
We come to school to learn. We learn and make good choices. By being good, we have lots of fun and friends at school. We are happy kids in room 208.
And in mind, everybody has one thing. And synergize.
Would you like some help with that one? Interrupting.
I listen without interrupting.
Being
proactive.
I do like that, yeah.
My turn.
Okay.
I'll write anything, which means you wrote about anything. And then our teacher looked at it, and she knew what we had to work on. And then these are just we can use where we write about our ideas we did over the weekend and more of them. We do these every month.
Wow, I like how these ones have a lot more words than the September ones.
Yeah. Stick together, they get the award. This is our first one. This is
Awesome.
This is our third one.
So how do you group the stars? What do you do? By synergizing? Is that what they're for? Very good.
Make that reach my goal.
So what do you have to do to reach your goal?
I make games like water and food. Me and my mommy made that up. And in order to get the card, if you're the highest, you need to set your number. And then that happens.
So the Green Team is a group of kids and teachers who work together to keep the earth and PLE green. You know that PLE is a lighthouse school, right? But did you know that PLE is also a green school? We are very proud to be a green school, and we're trying to become an emerald. To become an emerald, we need to earn more points, and that means start doing more recycling programs. Speaking of recycling, Parker will tell you about our new recycling program at school.
Our new recycling program is called Color Cycle. So basically what it is, Color Cycle is a fundraiser to raise more money so we can donate the markers to Crayola, which it creates energy to heat homes and other things like that. Aria will tell you about the next fundraiser.
So this year we also started a fundraiser that sells these bags. These bags are made out of plastic water bottles, and they are $5. All the money that we raise from these bags will go to our new recycling program, which is recycling plastic.
Stay, but if new people as 5th graders go, then other kids can interview for that.
Yeah, the grade range is like 3rd to 5th grade, and we have like some 2nd graders in it just practicing to be in it next year.
Okay, all right, great. Well, thank you for the information. You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, so you've been on this team for 3 years, you said. Wow.
Since 3rd grade.
And you get to choose which team you go on, or you're choosing to do this?
Yeah, I'm choosing to do this. It was on the job board over there, which you can learn more about if you want to go over there. It's a different station. And
there's some stuff on the wall. What made you want to come on the sail team?
well, in 3rd grade, Miss Homer was my teacher, and she's the publisher, and she was my 3rd grade teacher. So she just told me join it because she told me like I was a good writer in writing, so she wanted me to join it.
And then you guys want to talk together. And all of us had different stations to work with. Like, so there were 3 stations. And then of the 3, all of us were split up because it was only us 3 last year. And then this year we're training the 4th graders so that they can take our spots and train 4th graders.
We use the 7 habits to do the play because we have to plan ahead to know when we have rehearsal and to get there on time.
So we have to be proactive to look at what team to then we find it on the calendar, and then we go to rehearsal, and we rehearse until after school until 5:15.
Oh no, that's where we are. Yeah, the level is like 1, 2, 3. Yes, after campaigning, we did a speech in front of the whole school, and then grades 2 to 5 got to go.
Wow, that's
And this is all in the packet that you got. If you don't have a packet, they're right here. And here's some brochures for information.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. There we go. It's an exciting day here. This is the question and answer part of our morning. So what we have here are students from kindergarten through 5th grade. We have an upper elementary teacher and a lower elementary teacher and myself. They can answer any questions that you may have. And so if you have a question, if you want to just raise your hand, and we'll call on you. You can stand up and just loudly ask a question, and then we'll have our students and or teachers respond.
So I have 3 children. I have one who's a freshman at Northern, one who is in 6th grade at Walnut Creek, and my son Landon, who's in 3rd grade here. And we do a lot of seek first to understand, then to be understood at our house. Because, you know, sometimes as moms, we don't quite, according to them, understand them. And so, in having 2 girls who tend to be the other 2 mothers to my son, he has to do a lot of that to get along with them. And they have to understand where he's coming from, because in their eyes, he's the prince of the house, because he's the youngest and the only boy. So we use that a lot at our house. And win-win, as she explained. That goes on a lot at home as well.
The former crew planner for lessons, we met every other week, and or basically twice a month. And a group of teachers would kind of sit and develop a lesson based on the habits, either from getting ideas from the Leader in Me website, or kind of creating something on our own, and making sure that all the teachers had the materials so that when we did meet in a crew group, they had everything ready to go. And what's nice about our crew is we have such a large staff that our crew groups were only the size of like 10 or 12 students, because the principal had a group, and anyone else in our building, we were able to kind of disperse students that way.
We had a crew assembly, and so that assembly, what it was is we had, during our crew meetings, our mentor groups. We as our kids to help us pick out what name we want to give to our crew. And so last Friday we celebrated the end of the day where we had kids come down, and what we do have when our kids first come in, well, we have our assistants. So we talk about those leadership roles across the entire building. We also talk about every child having a leadership role in the building. We have students that are actual ushers. So that's where, right, even something as basic as kids coming down to the cafeteria, to the gym, if we open a wall up for larger assemblies. And so if ushers come up, students come in, they line up based on where the ushers are lined up with the signs, and then we had 2 students from each crew that presented what their crew name is, and it was actually a lot of fun, as the crew names are pretty humorous, and you also get a chance to see how my crew board is not as well decorated as probably Mrs. Klaus's or Mrs. Gordon's, and I take blame for that. But, so really the leader in me, regardless if it's a crew assembly, regardless if it's a leader in me related assembly, or if it's something like an author or a magician or something more instructional based, really the leader in me is embedded in all of them to a certain extent, some more than others, depending on what the assembly is. Tell me if I'm wrong at all. So your question first is regarding how our elementary students are using it, our upper elementary students, and then if it's leading into middle school.
And how is that going to transition into the middle school?
It's a great question. So I've actually had that question asked in the past too, and so I can start off and then I can kind of pass it along. But I know that we actually, our middle school is not a leader in this school at this time. They've actually inquired about, the current administrator and I have had plenty of conversations this year about the leader meetings, really interested in learning more about it and the habits. So it may be something they look at, maybe looking at certain components of it or looking at becoming a leader in this school. But I can tell you our upper elementary students, what's amazing too is, you know, a lot of our upper elementary students are ones that are, not all of them here, but the entire 6 years as 5th graders. But this program started when many of our students were in kindergarten. So they've been living the leader in me for 6 years. So what's nice is as it continues, as they continue their journey through the building, and they build upon their experience every single year, those leadership roles, it really just gets stronger and stronger. And so as they're going through, they're finding their voice. There are so many students, I remember at lower elementary, We couldn't get them to talk much. I just had a conversation with a parent yesterday about a child who's in lower elementary student, really had difficulty finding his voice, and truly was very shy, and now the person has no problem talking in front of 70 adults. So that's not an issue. And so we're excited to see that as it continues to building, the confidence grows in each child.
Because I have a middle school child who went 5 years through Pleasant Lake, and unfortunately she had mom, and she had mom the teacher, and mom in the leader in the school. So we talk a lot about, we use the lingo a lot at home, and what I think has been pretty awesome to see as a parent is my daughters that have gone through it, and my son who's still, here at school and going through the Leader in Me program. It just kind of becomes a part of their life. It's kind of like in the beginning when I used to talk about it, oh, Mom, are you going to say the habits at home again? And it was like, well, it's true. Like, you need to be proactive, you need to do this, and these kinds of things. But I think what happens is what our hopes are, is that if there are students that continue with us and we're using the language here and we're trying to teach using the language, that they do go home and they do just live it, and they may not say those actual words like, okay, so today, Mom, we're going to do win-win, but you see it. And I think my daughter, who's in 6th grade, who is in a middle school who doesn't do the Leader in Me program, she'll come home and tell me stories about things that have gone on that I can see that she's doing it, and it just kind of becomes part of them. And I think, speaking from experience and having children as well as being a teacher, we see that in a lot of our kids that will come back and visit us from the middle school or from the high school, or some of these kids that come back and are here at the end of the year at our 5th grade graduation, and they get these amazing scholarships that our school gives them in some of the speeches that they write about. And they will get a chance to stand in front of our 5th grade parents as a senior and talk. Some of these kids will continue to talk about the Leader in Me and how it helped them. So I think when we see that, it's a big success for us, because we realize that, okay, we're talking a lot about this at school and we're doing all these things, but it really shows when you have it coming from the kids. It makes it more authentic. And I'm sure as you walked around today and a lot of these kids spoke, and some did practice and some didn't. Some we wanted it to just be right from what they would say as a kid, because sometimes we just want to hear it, that's what's real. You see that with a lot of these kids who graduate and move on, and we hope that they carry that with them whether they have a Leader in Me school or not.
I think that what we're most proud of is really that it's amazing, and this is just an example. This happens all the time though. I had 3 students come up to me yesterday morning. They said they'd like to do ABC. I said, okay, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? And so I did not do a form. There's no adult that did a form. And they got it done. When you walk in our office, you'll see those popsicles each child did, and they all put together for a picture. Children put that together. I collected 2 kids today, and I want you to go collect the popsicles. I want you to be in charge of who's missing them, what teacher hasn't turned them in yet, what new kids have just enrolled that haven't done them yet, and I want you to put it together. And so they took it on. And so that's what they did. I didn't do anything in terms of other than picking the right 2 kids. And yesterday, another 3 kids. So that's what I'm really proud of, is that we have children that come up to us asking to do things, and we empower them to do it. And I don't micromanage it. None of our teachers do it. We don't micromanage it. We just tell them, give some parameters, and then they take off with it. So that's something I'm really proud of, and that's continued. So we have a resource binder that we provide to staff. We update as needed. There's a part in there that talks about kind of the disciplinary stuff, and so we have the reflection sheets. Things that are tied in, reflective of the Leader in Me, 8 habits. Choose sunny weather right up there. So there is, yes, it is a large component of who we are, and so are our leadership roles. So they absolutely are. So it's really, Leader in Me is embedded in every single thing we do. It's not something that's separate. So it is embedded in how we handle disciplinary issues, academics, and just day-to-day things.
So say with Leader in Me too, sometimes you take the opposite approach. If a student is having difficulty and kind of acting up, give them a leadership role, and their outlook changes and behavior issues come way down because they have something to put that energy towards. And that's very empowering, and every teacher kind of does it a little differently, but the common theme is that you all use like the reflection forms for students to fill out. Teacher has to sign it, parent has to sign it to come back. But I really think that the biggest part is assigning those students kind of a leadership role within the classroom or within the school.
We hope you saw lots of examples of how Pleasant Lake students are working to be leaders.
We also hope you enjoyed your classroom visits and will come back to visit us again sometime soon.
Finally, we hope you saw or heard something today that will inspire you to find your own voice too.